For years, Siege has suffered from having a bit of a boring early round. At the professional level, teams like to take their time setting up for their attack, but recently, one team has been reshaping that convention. Dark Zero have come alive in the past year. They've been among the top teams from NA for forever, but some restructuring and new ideas have turned them into an absolute powerhouse. These boys are bringing the pace, unafraid to get aggressive, and have figured out objective play like no other team. They're explosive, strategic, and constantly innovating with new strategies that their opponents can't even begin to counter. Dark Zero are the real deal, and in this video, I'm going to take you through the innovations and strategies that have taken Dark Zero from being your run-of-the-mill good team to championship material. This here is Dark Zero versus Wildcard. Nighthaven Labs is one of the most recent maps to be added into the competitive pool, but it's quickly risen to become a fan favorite. The map offers a template for so much creativity, but there's one player in particular who is always ready to take advantage of the flexibility that affords. Meet Spirits. Maybe my favorite player of the last few years. He's been making a name for himself by consistently playing some of the most ridiculous operator and gun combos you've ever seen. He's found a niche playstyle that lets him be lethal in ways nobody else can, and his opponents have had to be the ones to adjust and respect it. This round he's playing Blitz, and I'll let you in on a little secret. This means DZ are about to go fast. Dark Zero are attacking storage after a back and forth yet uneventful first half. Play on this site usually centers around the B objective, and its windows directly to outside. And sticking with convention, this is exactly where DZ will focus their attention. Their plan is to jump in the window and plant behind the pillar in sight. Super simple in concept, but in practice, there is so much that goes into making such a play. From the perspective of Wildcard, this would obviously be a little bit problematic. If DZ plant, they'll likely win the round. So what you tend to see in pro play are a lot of resources going into making sure the attack can't just hop into sight. Lots of teams will play a Warden with C4 just inside to help deny. But against a whole attacking team, this often isn't enough. What's nice for the defense is it's actually possible to play vertical in both directions on this site, creating holes above and below the window in order to stop the site player from getting overwhelmed. So with that in mind, in order to pull off this rush plant, DZ have to check a few steps off before they can hop in the window, namely ensuring nobody is playing the vertical. And the way they do this is by droning and forcing movement. If there's one thing worth remembering about Siege, it's that attacker drones are likely the most important resource in almost every round. Knowing how to drone properly is the biggest thing which separates good players from great. So let's see how DZ use them in order to gather information on the setup and set up for their rush. In this round, the prep phase actually plays a critical role in putting all the pieces into place. DZ start off by setting pre-placed drones in rooms they will need info on later in the round. They get vision on rafters and cafeteria to provide them info about defender positions and rotations late round. But the other two they set up are even more important for the site hit itself. NJR hides a drone servers, giving vision of the whole room and, notably, IT door. So he can see if anybody is playing vertical above. Meanwhile, Spirits rounds things out with the coup de grace, a super easy, innocuous drone in assembly, simply sitting all alone in the basement. They set things up for their rush. Twitch, Blitz, and Thatcher outside storage, Nomad below on the warehouse window, and finally NJR up top, outside the reinforced IT wall. Dark Zero are in position and just about ready to go, but before they do, they still need to check off a few steps. Dealing with above is actually pretty easy. NJR on Thermite can simply open up the IT wall and hold from outside the breach. This stops Wildcard from being able to peek the storage vert without having to fight him first, so that's step 1 out of 2. Downstairs can often be a bit trickier to clear, but in this case, that pre-placed drone from Spirits is able to confirm there isn't a soul sitting down below, meaning Dark Zero are ready to go.
Even though it won't be in the lineup for Dark Zero, you do have the Blitz as well, and, well, a Spirit's in the lobby. You're gonna be glad you invested in those glasses.
Dave hopping in there anticipating an FNAT or something and kind of seeing that it's clear. Might force DZ into something a little bit quicker. You can see they're all converging.
Ooh.
Great use of the EMP here. Spirits, he's going to hop in.
Ooh, great timing with the EMPs too. Caught by Spiker, either shot out of the air, disabled by the EMP. What the hell is that peek with Blitz? Puts the shield on his back and hits the Hashom angle. Bit of a curious engagement from Spirits, but not at all a strange round from Dark Zero. Hop in, win the fights, get in, get out, and done. Might very well be an impactless frag for Kansan right there, as this counter defuse does not seem likely. A lot of drones sitting on that diffuser right there. But this seems done and dusted, Ollie. Dark Zero tying it up 4-4. He's at least making it nice for us. And we'll give him that.
Hey, look, as the second highest rated player in the league, you've got to let him pad his stats a little bit.
Look at that execute out of Dark Zero. I mean, there's a reason I love this team so much. It's beautiful. Spirits leads the charge, using his shield to create chaos, while his teammates follow up behind him with bomb. Seeing the Blitz jump in, Spiker immediately reacts by tossing a C4, but Dark Zero have an answer for this too. Before hopping in, Pamba throws all 3 EMPs, which disable the C4 in midair, countering Wildcard's last real hope in the round. The big thing to take away though, for me, is how well all of DZ come together. They have a plan, they set up, and they execute, perfectly understanding every step they need to take to lock every Wildcard player out of being able to find any real impact. This is a theme which continues as Wildcard move on to defend basement for their next site. Again, Dark Zero are like, clearing seems hard. Let's just go direct. And they bring along a few different tools to make that all possible. Labs is a map with just so much vertical. So like in last round, Wildcard are playing above in order to help hold site. They open holes in the floor of storage and control, which allow them to deny plant from above in order to force Dark Zero to come clear them. Along with this, they roam across the entirety of upstairs to make sure the players playing vert have people nearby in order to help support. In theory, this makes it really difficult for the attackers to just walk into site, but that's just in theory. In practice, when Dark Zero want to go direct, they find a way to go direct. So let's take a look at the tools they've brought along in order to make this attack possible. First, where exactly do Dark Zero want to plant? Well, their idea is to walk inside Animus and plant directly in front of the window, which is insane. There's so many angles that see this spot. So now let's go through and spend a few minutes taking a look at how Dark Zero deny every single one. The easiest and most effective way to deny a particular angle is to make sure that there's nobody playing it in the first place. Wildcard have 5 defenders spread across the map, so once accounting for the roam, only Spiker is left actually playing close to site. He has some help from Kansan playing vertical storage and control, but the remainder of Wildcard are over towards Cafe and Electrical. The thing is, if the defenders don't hear anything for long enough, they'll start to get suspicious of a rush, make their way back to site, and the whole thing will be off for Dark Zero. So they need to find a way to draw the defense into staying on the roam, staying upstairs, and not returning to site. This is where Pamba factors in, with potentially the most important job of this rush. Pamba is playing Ram, and he's on the opposite side of the map from the rest of his teammates. At first glance, this seems useless. How can you help with an Animus rush from outside of IT? But he manages to have so much more impact than you'd think possible. It's super simple, but by tossing in Ram drones to open the floor IT and apply pressure rafters, he baits Wildcard into persisting with the roam, keeping them from getting suspicious and returning to site, opening the door for the rest of Dark Zero to make their play. Towards the start of the round, NJR had gone down below to open the assembly and Animus walls. This doesn't cause any suspicion on its own, since lots of teams will just send a hard breacher down there to have the wall open when they need it. But this prepares things so DZ can go the moment they're ready. Now, with about 90 seconds remaining, they make their move. First, there's a few angles they need to deal with before they can do anything. The most important being Spiker's cross angle from assembly. For this, they have the Rowra. Nafe uses a door to shut the angle from assembly and banks his smoke off the wall, which lands right in front of the window where he wants to plant. It's cool, right? Like, he's got smoke that he can plant inside, but it is a bit of an unconventional use of a smoke. Usually, attackers will throw smokes at defender positions, making it so that they'll need to retake through smoke in order to get back on the angle. But here, Dark Zero have a bit of an exception. See, Spirits is playing Glass, and his gadget allows him to see through the smoke, holding Wildcard's retake via an angle they can't even see. And with that last piece in place, they make their play, working into sight before Wildcard even have the chance to realize what's going on.
We saw SSG try to do something similar on this attack yesterday. Wildcard station a lot of defenders on the middle floor. So they try to apply a lot of pressure up top, then immediately drop down Animus for a quick plant. It doesn't seem like they're doing the exact same thing today. Instead, it is just a full send into the site. Smokes, not even many Auroras. Nafe putting that diffuser down. It's not NGR in this Glass this time. 4K for him on Cafe, but Spirits with one important frag as we move into the post. Wildcard with no real clean options at getting this counter diffuse or even getting close to this diffuser. We've got 3 people in Animus. 3 people on these cover positions. whittling down the defenders of Wildcard. Again, another extremely dominant round from Dark Zero, not letting Nighthaven slip away.
The last round I want to share with you guys is a bit different than the other two. So far, we've looked at fast, direct sight hits. But here, I want to take you through how one of the best teams in the world converts a man advantage. DZ are attacking top floor, and they start with the very typical opening of the IT wall. Here, Pamba tries to catch a timing, immediately walking in off the breach, and manages to find himself a quick two-piece.
Up until this point, there's no worse way to go than a Frostmat. Pamba, big kill there, walks into IT, is just allowed in.
Oh no, and another one.
With a massive advantage, DZ immediately slow down, wanting to group up to prevent Wildcard from lashing out and finding a kill. As a defender in this situation, the expectation is for you to try and battle back, find a pick, get your team back into the round. So DZ, they want to make sure to come together to avoid giving Wildcard the opportunity. Spirit smokes the IT door to stop any swing from there and walks up IT as his teammate Nave works up Rafters. This allows them to fully take control of the 2 rooms south of site, essentially boxing the defense out of the space and allowing DZ to set themselves up for their final execute. Pamba goes to hop in electrical in order to pinch out the remaining defenders, as Spirits and Nave use their utility to continue to disrupt the defense.
Now they'll slowly start to dip out just a little bit.
So we've got a Deimos track as well this time. Pamba, it's party time, baby.
That's it.
Pamba shoots bees across pillar to ensure nobody is playing in server, and with that room cleared, the attackers are free to turn their attention towards command, and the few remaining defenders fighting for their lives.
Canton's gotta go huge. Pamba on low HP as well. The death marks could be important, but it's just Spiker. The IGL playoffs not done here, but it will be a lower bracket run. It'll have to be vision spotted and done. Citizen mad at himself in round 11, but closing it out in 12. Yet no massive upset today